Hello everyone, and in this video, I will be teaching you how to checkmate with the king and the queen. So along with me we have Shiva here, I'll be teaching him as well. So, in the position in front of me, you can see that white has a king and a queen, and black has a king only. So the first thing you want to do, or step one, is in your brain you want to draw this picture of you want the black king to be pushed into one of these four sides. Now in chess, if the king is not near the center, that's these four squares, it's gonna have less squares to move to. So if you put the king in the corner, it's only have 3 squares to move to. So we want the king to have less space as possible, so it's easier for us to deliver checkmate. So step number 1 is, obviously, if the black king is already in the back rank, you want to kind of draw this imaginary box. Now I call this the boxing method. So if I was white here, I play the move queen to d6. Now this one is multi-purpose. It kind of draws this invisible field or line that prevents the black king from ever escaping these 8 squares, let's say. So we want to gradually shrink the box as best as possible. So now black can play something like king f7. Now we're going to play queen e5. Continue shrinking the box. King here, further, and all of a sudden the black king almost has no square to go to. Alright, so again, black only has one possible move here. It's going to be king h7, and now we can play the move queen and g5. So a thing to note is that whenever the black king gets on one of these 4 files or ranks, you want your queen to be somewhere along this file, so it cuts off the king from ever escaping. With that being said, the move here is to play queen g5, and therefore the black king is forever trapped within these 3 squares per se, right? In other words, if here, you can actually play the move queen to e7, trapping the king like this, or even queen c7, trapping the king like this. The whole idea is, once the king is trapped in the very last rank, your job for the queen is done. You can just move your king up, like here. Again, the key thing here is that the black king cannot escape, so you can only shuffle between these 3 squares, and in the meanwhile, you just bring your king up, and then...
So the basic idea is we should keep the king in the last file.
Yes, exactly, Shiva. You want to keep the king in the last rank. Now, once your king kind of makes sort of contact with your opponent's king, you can just bring the queen over, and I call this the kissing checkmate. It's really close distance, and your queen covers all the important squares, and the black king is checkmated. Right, so once again, let's start from the beginning. Now, what if that, let's say our opponent's king is not conveniently at the very last rank? Well, let me show you another example. So, let's have this position.
Let's put in the center, somewhere. Let's put it on F5. Put it on F5, okay, that's wait here.
That's fine also. Right. So, in this position, the black king is actually not even close, we're near close, any of the 4 sides. So, in our brain, we want to make an imaginary thought. So for me, I'm going to say like, okay, I want to push the black king to this back rank file. Now of course you can, force your opponent's king to go this way as well, but for me, since it's easier, I'm going to put my opponent's king, or I will try to put my king to this last rank. It's like a mini goal. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw my imaginary box. I'm going to play the move queen to d3. Immediately putting this huge box around the black king, as highlighted here. And if the black king goes down, we can move the queen up, shrinking the box even further, and we can continue this process here, here. If he goes here, we can, maintain and controlling this box. And eventually, if you keep this up, you'll get to a position where your opponent's king will be eventually somewhere along this rank. Then, perfect. Queen g3, make sure to, whenever you see the black king in one of these 4 files or ranks, make sure to cut off with your queen, like this. Then, once you've done that, you can bring your king up and give checkmate. Alright? It's the just a bit, but, yep. But if you want to have like a, a more of a fixed way, here's another way to think about it. Notice how every time moving my queen, I am sort of checking my opponent's king with a knight. Imagine my queen's a knight, I'm actually checking my opponent's king. And by doing this, I'm effectively shrinking the box as well. So by maintaining this kind of like a knight step or a knight move, I'm forever shrinking the box. Look at this. And it's gonna be a very nice pattern, and at the end, boom, you got this, and here, bring the king up, here, 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 mate. Simple as that. One thing to look out for is don't stalemate. So a stalemate is a situation where you're leaving your opponent with no legal moves. So for example, if you're going to overkill with things like Queen G4, this, and not that, but Queen G6 here, and that'll be a stalemate because you're giving your nowhere to move. A stalemate is not the same as a checkmate. A checkmate is also when your opponent's king have no place to go to, but you are actually attacking your opponent's king. In this case, you're not attacking the black's king, but it's black to move, and he can't move anywhere. So in chess, we call this a stalemate, and the game's a draw. So make sure you don't walk into stalemate, and always give your opponent somewhere to go to before giving a checkmate. Alright?